Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. This time round, we're checking out BulletEye. This is a Doom mod that brings SNES-style arcade shooter sensibilities into the Doom we all know and love. How does it do that exactly? Well, through the judicious use of power-ups and pickups. Tons of them. As you can see, this level is littered with things for you to run over and pick up. We've got the little white glowing diamonds here. These actually increase max health. We've also got containers that we can crack open to grab extra ammo for our sub-weapon, which is below the health bar. I've picked up a few shields as well, which add to our health, which is the blue bar below the orange health bar. And most importantly, we've got these little blue tokens, which if you crack open will give you access to a weapon power-up. As you can see, you can only really have one at a time, so you've got to choose pretty carefully, but I'm pretty sure that the Blaze Stream here is a reasonably decent choice. Much like the primary weapon, the sub-weapons here in BulletEye can only be equipped one at a time, so you generally have to choose carefully. But these are more reliable damage dealers, the ones that I've got right now I like to call the exploding balls, because I can't quite remember the proper name for them at this particular point in time. And where it gets interesting is that if you run over multiple instances of a weapon that you have currently equipped, it will in fact boost the power of that weapon. Naturally, these power-ups do not scale infinitely. You get 3 levels max, and at the top, you generally get a bunch of interesting effects. The split fire here, for example, will split with multiple projectiles when it hits an enemy or the environment, and various other weapons will also get other effects on top. The Buster here, for example, is something that's relatively short range. The projectile will only travel so far before detonating. With subsequent power-ups, it does in fact travel further, and at its ultimate peak at level 3, the Buster Sphere will actually split into 4 other Buster Spheres, allowing it to deal a much wider radius of damage. As you can imagine, whether or not you'll get your hands on all 12 primary power pickups here is pretty much up to chance, and to be honest, not really all that advisable in the first place. This is a game that more encourages specialization than diversification. You want to pick a good power-up and upgrade it till it is badass. That said, it can occasionally take a while to max out a power-up itself, which is why the BulletEye system is much appreciated. That's right, you get your hands on this bad boy once you max out the bar in the bottom right hand corner. This is the BulletEye, a crank handle operated powerhouse of a weapon that just tears through the enemies, and is a really nice stopgap between getting everything else up to max level, because periodically with enough kills you can just go on a rampage with this thing. And you don't have to use all of it as well. You can cancel out of the BulletEye by pressing the same button that activates it, and that means you don't have to build up quite as much of that bar for the next rampage. You may have noticed during the course of this mod that I've been picking up various colored orbs, and these are in fact strike orbs. If you pick up a green one, it will give you a timed boost to your defense. If you pick up a blue one, you'll get a boost to your speed, which I think also includes your rate of fire. And if you pick up a red one, it will of course boost your attack. That last one I find particularly helpful, especially if you're in a situation where you're not finding lots of duplicate power-ups and not really able to build up the power of your primary weapon. So it's designed to give you a little bit of an edge, to help you through if you're in a bit of a pinch, and of course, there's always that building up kills till you get to unleash the BulletEye itself. The true dilemma of BulletEye, though, is picking a power-up and sticking with it, because as wonderful as all the variety is, dealing with level 1 power-ups for the duration of a run isn't all that satisfying. You really want to be tracking down those duplicates and building it up to its ultimate level 3 form. When it came to power-ups that I tend to favor here in BulletEye, I think the Storm Grenade is definitely up there, because even at level 1, it's a rather powerful weapon, and visually quite fun to use as well. And in combination with this particular sub-weapon that I've got here, something that, again, I can't quite remember the name of, you get quite a lot of bang for your buck. And that's even before you've upgraded. With that in mind, I think it's safe to say that not all pickups here are created equal, and I'm just trying to figure out whether there's a provision for that made in how rare some of these pickups actually are. I definitely got the sense that a weapon such as the Storm Grenade here did turn up a hell of a lot less than certain other pickups. And I can't help but wonder whether this means that they might be tiered into groups of power and rarity, which would make sense. I mean, of course, you'd want the player to mess around with some of the lower tier power-ups first, and then when you introduce things such as the Storm Grenade or something like the Blaze Stream, which I consider pretty high tier, you then got that dilemma. Do you drop the fully upgraded lower tier power-up that you have, or do you move on to something a little more chunky such as this? The trade-off obviously being that you may not have as much opportunity to upgrade it. If that wasn't enough to consider, you'll find that there's even more items to take advantage of here in BulletEye. Some of them will pop out of the corpses of Barons, some of them will be one-off weapon upgrades that you can use for your currently equipped weapon. Sometimes you'll get items, such as the Guard Visor here, which actually gives you invincibility for the first 10 seconds when you use the BulletEye itself. As you can see, there's also slots for armor and gloves, and these will of course give you various benefits, much like the visor, but really that all depends on how lucky you are in getting them to actually sprout from your enemy's corpses. But all in all, BulletEye is one of those mods where I can't really find all that much wrong with it, to be honest. Any grievances that I have are minor things that would probably just be quality of life improvements when it comes to the gameplay itself. I mean, the BulletEye weapon, I love it. The weapon design is freaking fantastic. I love that it gives you full strike orbs when you activate it as well, which I don't think I mentioned earlier. The only thing that probably irks me a little is the fact that so many of the power-ups just result in the pistol here being the weapon that you're still firing. I would have hoped for more weapon models, for more unique things to actually fire, and one thing that I think would be really cool, something that I think would encourage people to maybe try out maxing out the other weapons, is to have little modules add to the weapon model itself as you upgrade it. So a level 1 won't look exactly the same as a level 2 variant of whatever weapon you've currently got, with the level 3 version obviously looking the most badass out of all of them. In terms of improving the arcadiness of BulletEye, I feel that getting rid of hit scan based enemies would definitely be a step in the right direction, and as far as I can tell, that is something that is actively being worked on already. So shotgunners, soldiers, and chain gunners will all become projectile based at some point. One thing that BulletEye currently lacks, and something that I feel it could potentially benefit from, is maybe the inclusion of an extra power-up slot, because at the moment it feels maybe a little stingy, let's say. And even games such as Contra take advantage of that second slot, allowing you to experiment a little bit more freely with new pickups, just to see if they're worth it without running the risk of leaving the other thing behind. Granted, this is more of an early game problem than anything for BulletEye. As you get deeper into whatever map pack you're playing along with, the power-ups do flow a heck of a lot more freely, but in either case, I feel like it would help ease people in a little bit better and allow them to get to grips with all of the variety that's on show here. In the meantime, however, if you're particularly enthusiastic about a certain power-up, you can in fact lock whatever you're currently using, which means that if you do run over a different pickup, it won't automatically swap out, which will definitely aid you in the heat of battle. Also, that survivor that we just rescued, pretty sure that's from Descent. Just thought you should know that. But yeah, there's plenty to love about BulletEye. I love the look of the HUD, I love the sound that the pickups make when you pick them up, I love the music that plays when you use the BulletEye. As I've already said, I love the way the BulletEye looks itself, because it is an absolute beast. And if you want to experience these singular joys for yourself, then the link, as usual, is in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments below, and feel free to suggest any mod you'd like to see me cover in future episodes of Doom Mod Madness. This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.